when God felt closer, not just in stories, but in people's lives. Prayer felt real, presence felt undeniable, and many people still remember that feeling, even if they don't know where it went. According to ancient stories, God didn't just exist quietly in the background. He showed up. He spoke to people directly, called them by name, interrupted their lives. He appeared in fire, in voices, in moments that couldn't be ignored. People didn't wonder if God was real. They reacted to him. They argued with him, ran from him, questioned him. But they didn't doubt that he was there. Back then, God intervened. He warned kings, guided leaders, stepped into human history in ways that felt undeniable. And then, something changed. Today, people still talk about God. They still believe. Some still pray. But God doesn't feel like he shows up the same way. There are no burning bushes, no voices calling names, no moments where the sky seems to split open. So people ask the question quietly, why doesn't God show up anymore? Some say the world changed, that we grew smarter, more rational, less superstitious. Others say God never showed up at all, that the stories were symbolic, metaphors for human experience. But the ancient stories don't read like metaphors. They read like interruptions, like something stepped into the world and refused to be ignored. So what happened? One possibility is uncomfortable. What if God didn't stop showing up, but people stopped recognizing him? In those old stories, belief wasn't passive. It wasn't private. It wasn't optional. People spoke faith out loud, built their lives around it, acted as if it mattered. Belief wasn't just something they held. It was something they practiced, and connection worked both ways. But over time, belief grew quieter. Faith turned inward, private, occasional. People began reaching for God only in crisis, only when afraid, only when control disappeared, and when belief becomes rare. So does connection. Not because God needs permission to act, but because presence requires relationship. The old stories don't say God vanished in anger. They don't say he abandoned humanity. They suggest something else, that distance grew, that the world got louder, faster, more distracted, and God's presence faded into the background. Not because he left, but because people stopped looking for him the way they once did. So maybe the real question isn't why God doesn't show up anymore. Maybe it's whether we would even recognize him. If he did,